Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades in Grey, where today I am joined by Martin Makepeace. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Good morning, Elliot. Good to see you.
Very good.
How are you?
I'm very well. So today I've recruited Martin in to help me on a subject that he's well versed on, and that is of all about holiday romances. It's getting to that time of year. We're all thinking about summer holidays. I know I'm desperately looking forward to getting out to see you soon, bud. And what better man than I thought that who's lived his whole life as a holiday romance. So, and here you are.
My life's been one long holiday romance, Elliot. You should know that. Well, after living in Ibiza for nearly 35 years, I have got some knowledge of this
obviously
subject.
Only as a spectator, though. Only ever as a spectator. Obviously only as a spectator.
Obviously.
So we've all done it. We've all been there. I know, especially when you're younger, coming back off holiday, listening to Richard Marx, I think it was one of mine that, writing at the time as you used to. And that lasts for about a week and then you get over it. But you've seen your fair share out of there, mate. So is it a constant thing that you're always observing?
Yeah, it is. It is funny, actually, because it's the dynamic when you're abroad. I mean, I live in Ibiza, but it can be anywhere in the sunshine. There's just there's different vibes, there's different energy about the place. And I just find that people are a lot more open to doing things that maybe they wouldn't do back at home. And I've seen it so many times that people just really lose themselves in the sunshine. It's funny that is it vitamin D? I might be wrong. Is it vitamin D?
I think it's that one.
I think it's vitamin D. Yeah, it just has a strange effect on people.
Yeah. So
I hate to say that. I hate to say this, but especially girls. Okay, you knew that was coming.
I did.
Girls just seem to go mad. Boats, sea, pools, sunshine equals a holiday romance to me.
I think it's the whole thing of. I don't know if it's that you're away from all of your responsibilities, as it were, so you're not getting up. So do you think you're a truer version of yourself when you're on holiday, or a truer version of yourself when you're at home working?
That's a good question, that is, Elliot. I think you are the person you want to be when you're on holiday. I see it all the time over here. And in the extreme cases, people often adopt a personality abroad that they don't have back at home because they can. They've just thrown off the shackles of their job. They've thrown off the shackles of their life, and they can be who they want to be abroad. And I think that's one of the beauties of holidays as well. It just allows you just to be more yourself, or be the person you want to be anyway.
So for someone like you, taking you back, was that one of the things that really made you think, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do this all the time? I like the person I am here. I want to be like this all of the time. Was that one of the draws of it?
I think when you live in the sunshine and I think it's all about climate. I mean, we can overanalyze it for hours and hours, but it's all about climate. If you think about the UK or Northern Europe, you're around in scarves and hats and coats all the time. You come to somewhere like here and you're wearing very little clothes. You're being true to yourself. You're back to nature. And I just think you just feel better. And I think when you live somewhere abroad, it either suits you or it doesn't. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't suit everybody, Elliot, but it suits some people, and it obviously suited me.
So how many of these holiday romances have you seen that can you spot them and go, that's not lasting more than 5 minutes once they get off the plane back home? Or do you know a lot of them that have actually ended up staying together, or they end up staying out there together and then it works out there as opposed to coming home?
I've seen thousands over the years, thousands. When I was a holiday rep for the best part of 10 years in Ibiza, starting at the bottom and made my way up to the very top. And I've just seen thousands. I've seen one-night stands. I've seen 3-night stands, 7-night stands. I've seen a couple of people get married. We often hear it, that people, especially Ibiza tends to draw similar people together, especially music and the dance vibe. So yeah, you tend to find your soulmates when you're in that little moment, don't you? So, I've seen thousands over the years, and you can usually spot them a mile off, and you can see the players and you can see the people who maybe are doing something for the first time. So it's always an interesting dynamic.
So let's look at the girls, let's say. Is there a cautionary tale to be had of, like, when you're going away? Because there must be that where you've got the workers out there, like you've got like the young workers in their 20s, and they know every week there's a fresh crop of people that are coming into the island, and you always see it when you go away.
You're taking me back to when I was 21 again, Elliot. There, aren't you? Yeah, I think, but you know something. I think that it's an age thing as well, El, because you know when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. You're approaching things differently. You're discovering the world. You're finding out new things. You find things about yourselves. I think what the interesting dynamic is these days, which is more relevant for me and you, is all these older groups coming over, like Slip Back in Time, Clockwork Orange. You know, they're doing these kind of 40 plus, 50 plus rave weeks, and that's where you see the really interesting dynamic of people meeting up. And these are people with kids. They've gone through the mill, and all of a sudden they're in a place where they feel at home, comfortable, and they're meeting like-minded people, and that's where the interesting dynamic really happens.
So in terms of what, just people actually making relationships for themselves, because that's one of the problems that we face, I guess. And
21-year-olds bonking each other is always going to happen, right? Because in fact, I'll tell you a very quick story. When I first moved to Ibiza when I was 21, just 21, and it was actually the AIDS epidemic. If you can remember the AIDS epidemic in the late 80s and early 90s, you know, don't die of ignorance and things like that. And I was quite kind of, how can I say, you know, indoctrinated into that. So when I came to Ibiza first time, I just expected everyone to be, you know, really careful. And in the first week I was here, I couldn't believe what I saw. I was very naive. I came out working in a bank and came to Ibiza as a holiday rep. So it was a massive change. But the bed hopping that was going on, Al, excuse me, I was just blown away by it. And it made me realize that people just want to come on holiday sometimes, express themselves and have a great time. But that's 21-year-olds, that's 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game at that age for when you get to your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. And I think that's the interesting dynamic, is when you meet somebody a little bit later in life.
It's diverging from the actual topic, but just interestingly, how are they going, those sort of 40s, 50s, Clockwork Orange, Back in Time? Are they really popular out there?
Yeah, no, they're going really popular, which I think is really interesting for our demographic, because we've talked about this, haven't we, mate, about doing things in Ibiza. It's people who have gone through their life, they've had the kids have grown up, they've had the divorce, or they've had the separation, or so in some cases they never got married, and they just want to rediscover their youth. And these holidays give them a segue into feeling young again, but also, you know, with the knowledge of you've done it before, and this time you're going to do it even better and maybe even harder.
And we have it a lot of the feedback from like the show from our viewers as well, that it's sometimes this opportunity to actually meet people is the biggest problem, especially when you're at home. Yeah. So if you're going away onto these things, as long as you've got someone to go with, that's the other thing. A lot of the time.
Not even that, El. There's a lot of single travelers do it because, you know yourself, when you're a certain age, sometimes you can't find like-minded people who can't get away or don't have the same budgets as you have, you know. So what do? Do you stay at home feeling sorry for yourself, or go, listen, sod it, I'm going to go away? So especially the Clockwork Orange week and the Slip Back in Time week, which I know very well, there's so many solo travelers on that, and they all get together and make it like a little gang. And that's when the fireworks happen, obviously.
Enter Martin Makepeace.
Oh, no, mate, listen, no. They're a bit old for me, I'm afraid. So you have to clip that one out. Go on.
So moving on from the holiday romances, because I think we've all done them. They were a classic thing, especially on your first holiday. You went away.
Yeah.
It was the first time you've ever seen sort of more girls, more guys from outside of your postcode, as it were. And like you started discovering there's more out there than just your street. But once you're in a relationship, when do you think it's too soon to go away with someone on holiday?
Well, you know, that's a really big question, because I always find you don't know somebody until you live with them or go on holiday with them. Yeah, they're the two things. And I think it throws up an interesting dynamic. When you see someone a couple of hours a night and you say goodbye to them at the end of it, you know, that's one thing. But when you're staying with somebody, that's when you really learn the brass tacks. And it's not always roses, is it?
Oh, God, no. I mean, and also I think that to some degree when you're on holiday, it's more than living with each other, because you're together for 7 days, 14 nights, whatever it may be, where at least if you're at home, you can come up with an excuse and say, oh, I'm just popping around my mum's, or I'm just going to see so-and-so down the bar or down the pub or whatever it may be. And they might get a break from you by going shopping. But when you're on holiday, you can't do that.
No, you can't get away from them, can you? And as I said, I've seen it all the time. And again, on the other side, when I was holiday rep, I saw the couples come over and they break up halfway through there's nothing worse than seeing a couple split up halfway through their holiday, like literally split up, and you've always got a shoulder to lean on. But it was really strange, but it happened all the time. And a lot of people funny enough, a lot of people go away as a last chance saloon. They say, listen, we're not getting on, so let's go away on holiday and rediscover the candle of love. And it obviously sometimes can work the other way as well. So if it's not reignited, it's extinguished, isn't it?
And I think this is what COVID brought up a lot of the time is because there seemed to be so many people breaking up on the back end of COVID or getting divorced because after spending sort of all that time with someone, they both realised that actually we've got zero in common and we don't like each other and this doesn't work. And I think it's the same thing on holiday where you sort of go away and then after from my experience, I've had it just on the journey to the airport where you just think, yeah,
I went away with a girl once when I was very young and same thing. We had an argument about 10 minutes after getting to the airport and I was thinking this is going to be a disaster. And guess what? It was a disaster. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you can work through it, and it works the other way around as well. Sometimes you go, wow, these are great people to spend some time with. But as I said, I've seen it all. There's no magic. There's no magic marker for it. You can't pinhole it. Sometimes the craziest dynamics work, and sometimes the ones you think are going to work don't work. So it's a really interesting view of human life. But as I say, when you live in a place like Ibiza, you see it all the time, and it's never dull, put it that way.
I think as well, going back to sort of the age thing, I think when you're young, you feel like you've got time on your side. So you're quite happy to wait, because I remember looking back in my 20s, I didn't really go on a great deal of holidays with girls as it was. I think I've been with them quite a while before I did. I think some people go very quickly. They seem to be dating for a couple of weeks. I think when you're older, it's quite a good idea because I think to save a lot of time, I think sometimes if you go away with them, it's sometimes the best thing to actually do to sort of, so you're not going to waste a year or 2 years because you can go away and then find out you're not compatible. So you're better off sacrificing a week than a year and getting it over and done with.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, is there ever a good time or ever a bad time to do it? I suppose when you meet somebody, I mean, I've met people before who literally know each other for days and then they come away on holiday, or I've met people who've met up on holiday, because they wanted to find someone to go away with and they met up and they either goes right or it does wrong. But I think, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's coming up to her 80th birthday, and I said to her, does time go quicker when you get older? And she said it just goes in the blink of an eye. It really does. And I think when you get to our age, which is mid-50s, you are in a bit of a rush, aren't you? So you want to go through it. And also, I'm exactly on the same page, El. Let's not mess about. If we're compatible, let's get on with it. If we're not, let's get on with it as well. But let's go the other way.
And this is one of the other things that I've found as well is a lot of the messages that I've had from women who are meeting guys on dating sites are like, all they want to do is get you into bed. And there is that aspect of it as well. But I do think with a lot of the guys, they want to find out if you're sexually compatible as well. Do you know what I mean? So that they don't want
you want the chemistry on every level, don't you?
Because they probably haven't had that. And I don't know if that's the same for women or not, but they probably haven't had that sexual chemistry towards the end of their relationship. So they want to find out if it's going to be in this new one or not. And they don't particularly want to wait. Obviously, you've got the few rascals that's all they're after anyway. Terrible but I don't think that's terrible people. But I don't think that's the case for I don't think that's the case for everyone. I think they just sometimes they think, right, we're both adults. Let's find out if this is going to work or not.
Yeah.
So if you decide to go away with each other, what I think, like from seeing a lot of this out there, mate, what would you say are some basic tips for going away with someone for the first time?
Well, first of all, especially if you're a bit of an older person and you're stuck in your ways, you have to be flexible and patient as well, because like me, for instance, I'm always used to doing what I want to do when I want to do. But when you go away with somebody, you have to do it as a couple, as a dynamic. So I think patience and flexibility is the most important thing. And also open your mind to new things, because the whole point of having a partner is to get them to get you to do things that you wouldn't normally do, and to try new things. Because if you're stuck in a bit of a rut, or stuck in your own little ways of doing things, then you're only going to do those things ever. So that the beauty of having a partner is getting them to force you, or to kind of just manipulate you to do things out of your comfort zone. And I think as an older person, that's sometimes very difficult.
So some of the things that would spring to my mind of going away with someone that would, I think, are deal breakers, especially in
Deal
hotels.
breakers. Here we go.
Well, no, not deal breakers, but especially in hotels, like as well.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm going to give you a couple off the top of my head. Using the bathroom, because you're in a small area. Usually, you would be sharing a bathroom. And if you've not known someone for that long, it's all of the things of like, what do you do with the toilet door? See, for me, I'm closing the toilet door every time.
Yeah.
I know other people that go away and they don't.
I actually once with a girl, and she used to go mad with me all the time for leaving the toilet seat up. She got absolutely mad. And I was like, really? Is it that serious? And she said, yeah, it is. So I had to train myself to put the toilet seat down every time. There you go. Just a little snippet.
But how about the toilet door? Have you? See, I don't want to be in a relationship.
The toilet door's got to go. It's got to be closed, mate. Always.
It's got to be closed. Because I know guys and that are in a relationship with girls, and they all leave the toilet door open.
No, that's just basic manners. That's just basic manners as far as I'm concerned.
But their argument is that, yeah, but we're that close and we're that comfortable with each other. For me, I think some things should be private.
Funny thing is, the last 3 houses I've built, Elliot, I haven't put a toilet door on. I've left it all open, so I suppose that just relieves the need for it. Yeah. So yeah, I've never put the doors on. I've just left a big archway in there so you can see in. So you know,
I think that's one of them. Especially I think that's a thing for women as well. That I think they like their privacy. The other thing is, and there's small things that I think matter to people, is that when you go, okay, well, let's get ready for dinner and we'll go out at 7:30.
Yeah.
And then at 7:30, you're sitting there and you're waiting and thinking, this is going to be another 20 minutes now, and I'm starting to sweat because
that goes down to whether, I mean, I'm really impatient. You're impatient. You're unbelievably impatient, aren't you? So
no.
Yes, you are. God Almighty! Just let the viewers know he's unbelievably impatient. I'm very impatient. Unfortunately, I take after my mum. So if you say 7:30, it's going to be after 7:30. But you know, I always like being 5 minutes late as well. So you know, sorry about that.
5 minutes is fine, but when you're still waiting,
sorry, not sorry.
When you're still waiting for 25 minutes, and by this time everything you've ironed is now creased because you've been pacing around thinking, I just wanted to go out. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll meet you in the bar. See, that's my tip. If you discover
the reason why I'm 5 minutes late, Elle, is because I hate waiting. Right. So if I get there 5 minutes early and I have to wait, I go mad. So that's why I always arrive 5 minutes late. So the
trick that I learned with one of my friends, this wasn't even with a girl, this was one of my mates who was always notoriously late. Like, he'd still be watching films when you're going, are you going to get ready?
Yeah.
So I always used to say, we'll meet in the bar, and we used to share rooms abroad. We'll meet in the bar at 7:30 because that way, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah, you're in the bar, aren't you? Yeah. I know. Time. I don't think that's just centric to couples. I mean, it's just some people are really good timekeepers, some people aren't. So it's there. But I agree with that. You know, if you on holiday, if you say you're going to get ready for 7:30, get ready for 7:30 because it's little things like that could just send people over the edge, can't they?
And I also think it's finding when you go away with people sort of personalities, because I love the idea of going away on holiday, laying on a sunbed, laying out in the sun and reading a book. However, every time I've tried that, I last about 45 seconds because by the time I've put all the cream on, I'm just bored of it anyway.
Yeah.
And then I want to do stuff where I've been away with people that just that's all they want to do is lay there. And I think that's where you find out your compatibility, that where maybe one of you is happy to do that and then the other one goes off, but then you're getting your own time. But I think it's finding people that are like-minded to you. I know when we come over and stay with you, we're very like-minded in we like doing stuff in the sun as opposed to just I'm going to lay here and sort of just burn my skin.
I couldn't think of anything worse than lying in the sun all day doing nothing. I'd rather stay in bed, to be honest. It's like, but there are people out there, and I've seen it. I've got friends come over, and all they do is lie in the sun reading a book for literally 14 days. And I'm going, well, what's the point of that? I mean, but it's horses for courses. I think there's as I said to you before, the beauty of going away with somebody is doing new things. So if that's not your thing, and the reason why you and I don't like it, Elliot, because we struggle with relaxing. That's the thing, isn't it? We don't relax very well. Whereas if you're with someone who relaxes well, then sometimes they can see you through. So I don't mind half a day of it. And sometimes, isn't it funny, Elliot, when you go away on holiday, it takes you 3 or 4 days to wind down and get in the mood.
100%.
That's the thing that I always find. Like the first day, I'm still quite antsy. Second day, I'm a bit calmer. By third or fourth day, this is if you're going away for a week, you're relaxed and you're a bit like a zombie, aren't you? You can't get any sense out of yourself.
Yeah.
So, I just think the compatibility there is again, open your mind, be patient, be flexible, and see what happens. Don't make any rash decisions because things can change. And by the end of the week, make a decision. If it's good, go for it. If it's not, give them a kiss on the cheek and say goodbye.
Yeah, see, a lot of things sprang to mind then. And funny enough, you saying that, I found that with myself and Zach, that we used to go, we always, every year we did the all-inclusive holidays in Turkey because of budgets and because they used to be phenomenal value for money, absolutely fantastic. And we always used to go for 7 days. I only ever went for 7 days because I found 14 days boring.
Yeah,
but after a while, what I found, I ended up doing 14 days because I realised it wasn't that it was boring, but it actually takes me 7 days to start relaxing and then enjoy it.
If you look at your job, and what you do for a living, we're all tightly wound coils, really. You more than most, Elliot, obviously. But as I said, it always used to take me 3 or 4. I used to lie by the pool. Hated it first day. Second day, thought, not as bad. Third day, I quite liked it. And fourth day, I couldn't wait to get by the pool. So again, as I say, it's horses for courses. Depends what your holiday is. I've been on holidays where it's a active holiday, and I've been on a relaxing holiday. So you've got to decide on the outset. There's another challenge for you and your new partner or your old partner. What do we want to do on holiday? But forward planning goes a long way.
Yeah. I think you're right. You've got to have a plan, but be flexible within that plan. So the last thing, mate, is people that have been in relationships for a long time with families going on holiday, because I had limited experience of this, but they used to be. I found them really hard work, especially with young kids.
Young kids is very strict. I flew back from Birmingham on Friday, and there was a lot of young families there, and the kids were going ballistic. And I'm thinking, my life, I do not miss it. I'm glad I did it, Elliot, but I don't miss it.
Yeah, but it was always that classic thing of when you was away, and you'd sort of, when you was on your own, and you'd go to the bar, and you'd get chatting to someone at the bar. And it's like, who you here with? And the guy would be like, we're just here with the wife and the 4 kids, just relaxing. And then I said, there they are. And I'd look over there. The wife would be running around sort of with lilos and drinks and ice creams. The kids were everywhere. And the guy would just be at the bar, it's lovely here, isn't it? I'm looking at his wife.
I always remember my brother, before I had kids, he came away, stayed in one of my villas. And I went up to see him. And at 10:30, he was drinking a Budweiser or a beer. And I was like, mate, what you doing? And he looked at me, he looked behind, the kids are going mental, the in-laws were arguing, the wife was shouting at him, and he said, dulls the pain, mate, dulls the pain. But that again is one of the beauties of having a young family. And, there are so many upsides to it as well. It can be stressful, but there's so many. Just spending quality time with your family is the most amazing thing in the world.
I think that would depend who you spoke to, the man or the woman sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when we used to go when the kids were young, we used to go away for a month on end. So, we used to go big holidays.
But was you a hands-on dad?
Yeah, always, absolutely. What you mean, hands, smacking around the back of the head? No, never.
No, I do not mean that. Was you
done that,
was you like one of the guys on the plane that was the first one out going, come on, let's get to the beach, while the wife got all the carry-on luggage and all the kids?
We were pretty good travellers, mate, because a lot of experience. Both mum and dad worked in travel, so both well travelled. So we knew the hacks. There's a lot, when you're travelling with kids, there's a lot of hacks.
Well,
so
give me a couple.
always wait to the end, because standing in a queue at an airport is the most stressful thing in the world. You've already got your seats, you've pre-booked it anyway, so go and sit in the coffee bar, relax with the kids away, or there's a little playground there. Wait till there's probably 5 or 6 people left in the queue, then join the queue, then walk onto the plane. Do not be the first to queue up, because otherwise it just sends you mad. Always book a hotel that's got things. Bye-bye. There you go. Funny enough, there's Luke leaving with his holiday romance. There you go. Always book accommodation which has things for kids as well. That's the most important thing, or is close to the places where things to do with kids. So just make life easy for yourself. And I'm amazed when people go away as families, they just often don't make life easy for themselves.
Yeah, and as you said, like going away with families and in-laws, I don't think I've not done that yet, but I can imagine. I think not now because we're older, and I think trying to do that when you're younger.
No, in-laws are great, mate. Listen, I used to love going away with my in-laws because I used to look after the kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was amazing. My ex missus, her mum and dad were fantastic with the kids. So I used to pay for them to come with us because it was just easier. There you go. You come with us, and it was like taking away your own kind of your own private babysitter. So it was great. But they loved it as well. It was a win-win, and my mum and dad used to join us as well. So it's a different dynamic. It's funny because I didn't really get on with my in-laws until we had kids, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, they're so great with the kids. I saw them in it's not that I didn't get on with them, but sometimes they got in the way.
Maybe they just didn't like you, which you can't blame them for. You can't blame them for, mate.
No,
it does take a while to watch.
I was a son they never had. But no, you just see him in a new. If you just see him in a new light, El. That's the whole thing. So when you take your, don't get me wrong. Excuse me. There are in-laws out there who. It's funny. I had a mate of mine who came over on holiday and brought her mum and dad over to look after the kids. And her mum and dad went out every night, got drunk, and didn't do any looking after the kids. And she was like, "This is a nightmare." I went, "Well, you win some, you lose some, don't you?" They never bought them away ever again.
But there's also that classic thing when you're out for dinner on holiday and you can see the people that have come away with the kids that have quite clearly just had enough of each other by this time. Because they're not talking. The only conversation they have is when the waiter comes over and it's like, please don't leave us. Just take our order so we can speak to someone. Well, we're going to kill each other.
I saw one at Birmingham. I was in the UK for a couple of days last week. I flew from Birmingham. I saw this couple in the queue on Friday, and they weren't talking to each other. They were shouting at each other. This was in the queue. We got 2 young kids, and they were like, "Yes, have you got this? Yes, I have. Have you got that? Yes, I have." And I was like, "That's going to be a long week, mate. That's going to be a very long week." So,
Well, listen, mate. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed a little chat. I will see you in a few days, in a week, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyone going out to Ibiza, we might bump into you, which would always be nice to say hello. But guys, thank you for joining us on Fifth Chosen Great. Make sure you subscribe and follow, and we'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.